Treasurer Scott Morrison, he's heading to the UK. Why? Well, he's trying to seek some guidance on Australia's housing affordability crisis. Well, he's seeking guidance. He's not going to talk to them about their instituted negative gearing policy from 2015, which at least has reflections to Labor's policy that the government tells us is oh so bad. He can talk to the British Conservatives about that one because they think that Labor's policy by definition mustn't be too bad because they're doing a version of it. Anyway, it's believed that Mr Morrison will be exploring other options for a government-backed bond vehicle to try to help with housing affordability. Joining me now from Canberra is our Sky News political reporter, Jen Beshwadi. Jen, what is he going to do? He's going to walk over there and just tell the Chancellor of the Exchequer, I want to hear all about what you can do to help with housing affordability, other than the most important thing that you've done to deal with housing affordability.
Well, Peter, he's set up a number of meetings with officials, including the Mayor of London and the Housing and Planning Minister, Gavin Barrell, about a number of issues for housing affordability. He also will be talking to a number of other financial institutions to see whether the UK system, their schemes on housing affordability, will fit in the Australian sector. Now, one of these is the government loan scheme. It is essentially a system that backs more affordable loans, which will be handed to housing agencies and developers to help them build more homes, essentially, and build more properties. Now, this will hopefully help with that supply issue, that pressure, that demand that Sydney and Melbourne in particular is facing at the moment. Now, the government is also looking at possibly establishing a task force by mid-2017 to look at these British schemes to see whether they do actually fit in the Australian sectors. Now, there is a number of reforms that others have been proposing, Labor in particular, about negative gearing. As you mentioned, Labor said, well, Andrew Lee, the shadow treasurer, was on Sky News this morning. He says that the way to help with housing affordability and supply is to abolish negative gearing, and instead of putting the responsibility on the states, the government should be doing a lot more to change the tax reforms.
2015 budget, the Conservatives decided to make changes to negative gearing. The British Conservatives, against a scare campaign in which some of the tabloids said that it was going to drive down house prices, saw through significant changes to negative gearing, of the kind that Labor's been proposing in Australia.
Now, the Treasurer will be in the UK for a week. He released a statement saying that collectively Australian governments put about $10 billion per year on building houses and in the housing industry, and that money should be used more efficiently. He'll be discussing ways in which that money, as I mentioned, could be used more efficiently. He'll also be talking a number of other issues, including trade and investment, and this is as Brexit takes shape.